So we are still in week 11. What I want to do is go over some training with you. So I got two training. One is going to be communication skill training in a relationship. It's funny how we think that we communicate and we're really not communicating. We're just talking while the other person is thinking about what to say to you when they respond to you. Not necessarily listening, hearing the words that are coming out of your mouth, processing the words, and then kind of gurgitating those words by paraphrasing those words back. And then flipping the role, reverse the role, and then you do the same as they do, and vice versa, back and forth. That is really communication. And when we're in relationships, we forget that each of us want to be heard. You want to be heard, the other partner want to be heard too. It's not just about you speaking and talking and constantly making noise that are formed into words and you expecting the other person to receive what you're saying. I'm going to teach you some effective ways to communicate. That way, when you are in your next relationship, you will be able to have the dialogue that is healthy, okay? So, I will have this posted in the training session. This is part of your exercise as well as your assignment. You would have this for future situations. You can also practice throughout your time of talking to anybody. It doesn't have to be just in a relationship with someone, but because this course is about relationship, then that's why I'm addressing it this way. But you can use the communication skills with anybody, anyone you come across, just to get the practice. And the reason why it's important to practice this is because when you do something for a period of time, it becomes embedded in you. Just like a bad habit, you form bad habits to where it become natural and then you think that's just who you are. No, those are just habits that you have chosen to continue to keep doing. Well, it's the same thing as good habits. You can do the same thing. So what we're going to do is learn to use effective communication and turn it into a good habit. Effective communication is the cornerstone of a healthy and thriving relationship. If you ever notice that when people ask other couples, let's say you ask a couple who've been together for a long time, you ask them, what's the key to your marriage or your relationship? What's the secret of holding y'all together? They would probably say communication. Well, the question is, even though communication is the number one and it's the cornerstone of a healthy relationship, do they really communicate healthy enough that both partners are feeling fulfilled and heard in that relationship? Because you would probably have one person who's more dominant than the other in the communication area, and the other one partner just be more submissive and passive. That's not healthy either. They just allowing that person to just be the way they are and saying, okay, that's just who they are. No, that's the way they want to be, and you are accepting it that way. This is the reason why I'm teaching you this, because you can distinguish the difference when you pick up on certain things or when you come across this type of situation in your relationship. Communication skills training can help couples understand each other better, resolve conflicts more effectively, and deepen their connection. Here are key components and techniques for communication skill training in a relationship. So we're going to go over several things in this training. I want to break them down, and you're going to either download this worksheet, because I will have it in the PDF form for you to download. You can print it out and keep it for yourself. I'm going to tell you now, everything that I'm teaching you, this entire course, I have put it in the book. That's what this book is. This book here, Breaking the Spell, The Ultimate Escape Plan for Narcissistic Relationships, 13-week course. Yes, that's what this is. It's a 13-week course. This book here has every single thing I taught you, including the questionnaires as well as the training that I'm giving you now, and the ones I gave you before, and the ones I'm going to give you continue on with this course. Instead of you having to download the PDF copy, just get the book and you will have it all in one place. See? This is the self-questionnaire. This is that part. And if you just go through it, you will be able to write in it, keep it for yourself, and then in the future, come back to the book and say, wait a minute, let me do some check off and see if this was going on in my relationship or if this not going on in my relationship. Now, no relationship is perfect. I'm going to tell you that now. You might think that everything that should be going exactly the way that is not. So have room for grace, all right? Extend grace to your partner. They're not going to be perfect, but when you see the narcissistic tendencies popping up, that's when you have to be more aware and cautious about dealing with that person, all right? Or continuing the relationship with that person, because you will find yourself in a sunken place all over again. I know you don't want that, all right? So this is the reason why I wrote the book, because you might lose the PDF copy, or you don't have a printer, or you have too much memory stored into your phone. You don't have enough memory, I meant to say, stored in your phone, and you can't download it. So the book is there for you. Get the book. It's on the website. The link, go ahead and do that. If I have to, I will put the link in the course as well, so you will be able to just click on that link and go straight to getting all the books that I have written. If you choose to, you don't have to buy them all, but at least you will have what you need. So I'm going to go in and we're going to talk about active listening. So active listening, how that is done, first, the way you do, you're going to focus on the speaker. You give your full attention. You avoid interruption. Any type of thing that's interrupting, like your phone or watching television or just falling asleep, you know. You want to show that you are listening by nodding your head or just verbal affirmation like, I see, I understand. You can do that. And that can help the listener say, okay, I got your attention. I see that they're paying attention. And then you want to reflect. Reflect on what you're listening by repeating back to the other person. And you want to repeat what you understood, though. So you don't have to say it verbatim, what they said. Just something like, what I heard you say is, and then you say what you heard. Paraphrase it. It is always best to paraphrase, because, or when you paraphrase, that lets the person see how you processing. You know, okay, well, let's say for instance, I'll give an example. Let's say for instance, the person is saying to you, I am really tired of how people treat me. It's really just bothersome. Sometimes I just want to pull my hair out. And then what you would be doing is nodding your head. You're like, okay, I see, I understand. And then when they're done talking, don't interrupt them. When they pause and they're done talking, then you will paraphrase, say, okay, what I hear you say is that you get frustrated when people don't give you the attention that you need. It's so frustrating to you to where it just makes you want to do harm to yourself, because pulling your hair out is harming yourself. You see what I'm saying? Okay, that's paraphrasing. And let's talk about expressing emotions. So you're going to use I statements. Communicate your feelings and needs without blaming your partner. And you're going to say something like, I feel hurt when. So that way you're not pointing the finger at them. You basically letting them know that what is going on is making you hurt. All right. And then Be specific. You definitely want to be clear. Clearly express your feelings and why. It's not just about talking about your feelings, but explain to them why you feel that way rather than generalizing. So don't just talk about anything that is just basic. Get deep into why. They need to know. And then we have the nonverbal communication. We talked about body language before. That is still an ongoing thing. Your body language lets the person know how you actually are feeling while they're talking to you. Is what they're saying to you, is it frustrating you, or are you being sarcastic in your body language? Are you sitting there like with your hands on your leg or your hip and like with a frown on your face, like what okay, what okay, that's what you gotta say. That's bad posture, bad body language, and it makes a person withdraw from you or get on a defense mode, and you don't want them to get defensive. So basically, keep your eye contact, keep your eyes looking at them. You want to also make sure that you have a relaxed posture, like you're relaxed, you're not all tensed up, and nod your head when you are listening to them, all right? And when you're talking, let's talk about your tone of voice when it's your turn to talk. Your tone says it all. I remember when I used to say things to my narcissistic ex-husband, I used to say to him, your tone, the way you sound seems like you're angry. And he like, I'm not angry, but you sound angry to me. Because it's what it's doing, it has my senses inside of me flaring up. So definitely watch your tone. You want to use calm and respectful tone even when discussing difficult topics. So when you have a calm tone, it makes a person feel more receptive to receive what you are trying to tell them and what you have to say. And for an example, let's say, I'm giving you some examples because I want you to really understand what I'm talking about and keep this in mind when you're having communication with other people, especially in your relationship, your new relationship. So right now, what I'm doing, I'm building you for the next relationship. So when you get involved in another relationship, you're ready, all right? So let's say, for instance, you and your mate, you have a concern with him. You really want to talk to him, but you're trying to figure out how to talk to him to where he can understand it and not take offense to what you're saying. So what you would do in that, how you would use your tone, you would soften yourself up, especially as being a woman and a man. It don't matter if you're a woman or a man. You have to soften yourself up because it helps a person to listen and prepare. I would say, for instance, so with my husband, the way we do things, so when he got something to say, I can tell when it's serious. It's something that he does that lets me know that this is serious. He takes a deep breath. He goes, instead of blowing it out slowly, he blew it out hard. But I'm like, oh, this is serious. So now I put myself in a situation where I don't take offense to what he's about to say because this is something that he has been wanting to say and he needs to say. So let me listen. I'm not going to interrupt him. I'm going to listen to him and let him talk because whatever he's saying, it might be about me and it might not be about me. It might be about our son. It might not be about our son. It might be about our parents, or it might just be about people that he's dealing with in his own world. And then it gets, even with my own situation, when I relate some things to him about some people that I deal with, sometimes he's just like, he started talking and he gets real quiet sometimes, and then he starts speaking and he like, whenever it comes down to your parents, your family members or whatever, have you just thought about maybe, and I'm listening because his tone has softened up enough to where I can receive what he's saying. And then sometimes I don't agree with what he's saying because whatever he's telling me, I probably have already tried it and it didn't work. And then I would say, well, you know what, babe, I tried that already. That's not gonna work. So I have to just do things differently. And he's like, well, you know your parents better than I do. And that's how we'll go back and forth with our conversation. And that's how you soften up your tone. And then, of course, conflict resolution. you want to stay calm, because whenever you're dealing with a conflict, it can go bad really quick. And before you know it, you'll be saying, man, it just happened out of nowhere. I didn't see that coming. So definitely stay calm. Take a break if it gets more intense or your emotions rises so high to where you can't control yourself or you feel yourself getting out of control. Take a break, all right? What you would do is say, hey, let's pause. Let's just pause. There's no need for us to go back and forth like we're doing. I feel it's getting heated. See how I use this the I statement? I feel it's getting heated. I could have said it a different way. You're getting heated, and then that's gonna make them say, "No, I'm not. You're just taking it the wrong way. I'm just emotional. I'm just expressing myself." So it's better to say, "Look, let's take a break. Let's pause." You can just use the word pause. When you say pause, it just the body instantly stops. It's just a reaction. Pause, and you stop. I feel that it's starting to get heated. So let's just take a break and then let's resume, come back to this another time when we're both calm. It might not be today. It might be a week from now. But let's just come back to this another time. But we definitely need to discuss this and finish discussing what's happening so we can get a better understanding. And that's how you do that. So that way when you are in your pause moment, your pause break, you're thinking about everything they said, and then you also need to think about what you said, because a lot of the time we forget that some things we have said to our partner is something that we need to be working on. Did we need to say that? Was it something we should have said, or did we not say what we should have said? Write stuff down. So let's continue on. You want to focus on the issue when you do come back to and you do resume back into your conversation of resolving the conflict, because what you're doing is resolving the conflict. You're not just making it to where you just get your point across. It's not about that. It's about resolving. It's about resolution. That's basically what it is. You got a conflict. You got a problem. Let's find a resolution. We need a resolution. Isn't that what the late great Aaliyah sung when she was singing her song Resolution? If you never heard it, pull it up on YouTube. Aaliyah, the song is called Resolution. Look it up, because that's exactly what you need. You need a resolution. You're not looking to point the blame. So definitely keep the issue at hand without bringing up past grievances. Do not talk about things that happened in the past. Now, if it's related to the issue and what happened in the past has never been resolved, and it had led up into the moment that you are at now, the moment at hand, then what you would do is say, look, I'm not bringing up old stuff, but I need to point out this situation because it's the same, it's similar, it's no different from what happened before. I need you to understand this is the reason why it needs to be resolved, because it's going to constantly keep coming back. If we don't resolve this issue now or come up with a resolution to resolve this issue, how we're going to work on it, it's going to come back up again and again and again. All right. So you want to seek solutions by collaborating. You want to collaborate to find solutions that satisfy both of you. All right. It's not just about one person. Both of you need to be satisfied rather than trying to win an argument. It's not about winning the argument. Yeah, I showed her. I showed him. I sure did. No, it's not about that. What it's about is you coming up with some type of solution, okay? And then y'all agree. If you're not agreeing with what the solution is, let them know, hey, this might work for you, but I don't see how it's going to work for me. And the reason why I don't see how this is working for me is because X, Y, and Z. Let them know. Can we come up with another solution? Let's just brainstorm. I'm going to come up with some ideas. You're going to come up with some ideas. If you can't use your dialogues by using your words of sound, then write them down and say, okay, how about you write and you come up with some solution, and I'm going to write some things down and I'm going to come up with a solution. I come up with 5 different ways that we can resolve this issue. You come up with 5 different ways that we can resolve these issues, and then you come back together and you put the list side by side and look for commonality. What you would do if you find one solution that looks the same, identical to what your partner's is, that's your solution. Y'all came up with the same thing at the same time without even converting that with each other, and that is going to work because y'all are saying eye to eye. You feel that way, he feel that way, he think it's gonna work, you think it's gonna work. Let's do it this way. Let's say you don't have anything that's common, then just go over each one of them and discuss why you feel that could be the solution. They would do the same, and then you would say which one actually feel more comfortable for the both of us, and do it that way. So I will give you an example before I move on. My husband and I, when we was living in Lake Charles, we had a conflict. And the conflict that we had was I was ready to move back to Houston. I was tired of driving back and forth to Lake Charles and Houston, which that is only a 2-hour drive or whatever. But I was just tired because I wasn't getting enough sleep. And on top of that, I was putting a lot of miles on my car. And on top of that, I was paying $300 a month in gas. And that's just to get to Houston, let alone I didn't even mention having to drive from my house to get to the airport. And that is a 40-minute drive from our house to the airport without traffic. And Houston have a lot of traffic. So you can imagine how much driving I was doing. Well, not just that, I had other situation that was going on too, that I just felt like our home in Houston was being neglected. So we own our home in Houston where we're living at currently, and we was renting the place where we was living at in Lake Charles. How that came about, you will say, why would y'all do that? How that came about was that my husband had gotten a phone call from someone that he'd been knowing for years. I mean, like years. And this person had just lost his assistant basketball coach. His assistant had an emergency. Actually, I'm just going to tell you what it is because it's related to what we're talking about right now. His assistant had got shot in the face by his girlfriend because his girlfriend thought that he was cheating on her. And she shot him while he was asleep. You see how this is related? That's why I'm teaching these classes, because y'all got to understand this stuff is real. And it ain't just men beating up on women. This is also women taking revenge, you know? So this is why it's so easy to fall into that situation, but you need to get out of it. So anyways, to make this story short, I don't want to get into full detail. What ended up happening is that the coach needed my husband to come and step in. He was like, I know you have things going on. I know that you just got married, but is there a way that you can just help me out this school year? I don't have time to look for another assistant coach. And this was at a high school and everything. And my husband he consulted me, and he was asking me, what did I think about it? I thought it was a great idea. It gave us a chance to, basically figure out what way we were going to be going, what direction we're going to go in with our marriage as well. And then also our son, he can be in an environment completely different from Texas. So we go to Louisiana, we do all those things. Things are going fine. My husband only have an 8-minute drive to get to work. And our son went to school directly across from the high school because the elementary was across from the high school. So that was perfect. And then whenever our son get out of school, he would just go across the street and go to the gym and be there with all the players and my husband and the head coach. Perfect for them, right? But it wasn't perfect for me, because I had a lot of traveling back and forth. I was exhausted, and I didn't get a whole lot of time to be at home in Lake Charles with my husband and my son. I was spending more time away from them. And I said to myself, this got to change. We can't keep it like this. And I ain't gonna lie, I cried. I was so frustrated one day leaving from the house in Lake Charles, driving to Houston, and I cried. I was like, God, I can't keep doing this. I was praying while I was crying. I was like, God, I can't keep doing this. this ain't gonna work. I know this is perfect for them too, but it's not perfect for me. I'm the one suffering in this situation. We can't keep this way. I don't want my husband to not be able to keep getting what he needs in my son, but what about me? Can you find a solution that will help all of us together? So what ended up happening, the head coach got offered another job by, I would say, maybe 2 months after, 2 months until school was out. So around April, he got offered another job. And that job was, to him, he thought was going to be better for him. But the way it went down was that my husband had to make a decision because he couldn't go with him to the other job. So he was like, well, I'm not going to be here next year. So instead, my husband was looking for another job, coaching job in Louisiana, Lake Charles. And I wasn't liking it. I wasn't telling him though. I was keeping it to myself for a while. And I kept feeling like if I don't speak up, then he's gonna get hired somewhere and I'm still gonna be in the same situation. And then I started talking to my best friend about it, and she was like, I understand how you feel, but y'all need to talk. You need to talk. You need to let him know. And I said, yeah, you're right, I'm going to. But I was trying to find the way to talk to him. What would be the best way for us to talk? And of course, I started praying more about it because I always take my concerns and issues to God first. Before I go to anybody that I have an issue with, I talk to God about it first, and then I wait on it. And I wait to see what God wants me to do, or if God does something without me having to do anything. And that's pretty much what happened. God did something without me having to do something. What God did was he did not let my husband get another job in Lake Charles. He did not allow anyone to hire him. My husband don't realize that, but I did tell him that later on. But that was because it was not going to be right for all three of us. So we ended up sitting at the table. I said, babe, we're going to have a discussion about the situation, because he was getting frustrated. And I was getting frustrated. And I was getting frustrated because of how he kept being so diligent about looking for another job. And I said, you really want to work here? Like, you really want to keep doing this? My thing is, we came here to help your friend. We done that already. He done moved on to another job. It's time for us to start planning our future together, not based on just what you want, but what we both and all three of us need. And we sat it was an island that was in the kitchen. He sat on one end of the island, I sat on the other end of the island, and we sat there and we was like, let's communicate, let's talk. I will tell you my grievances, what's going on with me, and why I feel the way I feel. And you tell me your grievances and what's going on with you and why you feel the way you feel. He started bringing up the situation about other people in his ear telling him what he should be doing. And I told him, you're not married to them, you're married to me. They don't know me like that. They know you like that, but they don't know me like that. And you cannot base your decisions based off of what they're telling you to do that affects me. And I'm affected by this because, and I said, what I did was I written out my budget of how much it was costing me to go back and forth to Houston like that. And then I kept telling him about the situation with the car. And I'm like, I'm putting a lot of miles on this car, and I'm not the type to always trade my car in. My husband is. He would trade his car in every year. Me, I trade my car in when the wheels start falling off that mug. I'm not trying to get new cars over and over again. I just want a reliable car that looks good. That's it. I don't need all that extra stuff. And so he was like, what if I buy you another car? I said, I don't want another car. I like my car. I just want to be able to get to and from work without being stressed. And then traffic. When I get into Houston, once I get past Beaumont, oh my goodness, that Baytown area is like for real when they get to a certain time. And then I started leaving earlier, days earlier, so I can already be at home in the other house. Then it came down to where, I know I'm being long-winded, but I think y'all need to hear this story so you can see how we resolved the conflict. So it came down to where He started talking about, what about flying? You get free flight benefits. Just fly. And I said, that's not gonna work for me because we're neglecting our home. At least if I'm driving, I get to go to our house and check on the house and see how things are going. And we had a problem at our house. We had a busted pipe that was underneath the sink, and water was everywhere. Oh my God, I'm telling you. So, and then not just that, in the summertime, where in the heat, because you would think it's the summertime in March. You would really think it is because it's really that hot. And so we wouldn't have the AC going so we could save, the energy. So with the heat and then all that rain that happens outside of Houston rains a lot. The moisture was causing mold to start growing because of that water. And our kitchen, we had some water damage and a lot of things to fix. And I said, this is why we need to come back home. And he realized that he was like, you're right. I'm gonna let's go have some. And I told him, I said, let's just go back home for the summer and let's regroup and let's just figure out our next move. If Lake Charles is it, then we will figure out how we're gonna make it work without me driving back and forth to work. And if not, let's keep it moving. Well, come to find out, Lake Charles was not it, thank God. I didn't have to do all that. And my husband ended up getting hired at a school in Houston. And he was, because a friend, see, that's another thing too. My husband get a lot of offers. And he does help a lot of people, but he helped more people that he knows than anything. But anyways, so a friend had asked him, can he coach their team? And at first he was like, well, I got these trainings and stuff like that I have to do with these players to help them, get their skills together. And they said, we make sure it would not interfere in that. We'll make sure we're not interfering. Matter of fact, if you want to use our gym to bring the players there, then do that. And so he was able to bring some of the NBA players and also G League players and stuff like that to the gym. So it worked out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It worked out. So conflict of interest, you definitely want to make sure you talk it out. Don't hold it all in, okay? And you want to also have empathy. Empathy is very important in understanding. So show empathy, try to understand your partner's perspective, and validate their feelings, even if you disagree. Be patient. Give your partner time to express themselves fully without rushing them. Don't be like, are you done yet? Hurry up, hurry up. Don't do that. So let's talk about techniques to enhance your communication skills. I'm going to go through this a little fast because I was a little long-winded in that last one. I usually don't like my videos to go over 45 minutes. So I'm going to go through this a little fast. You want to do a regular check-in. So when you're a regular check-in, you're going to schedule communication with your partner. And what you're going to do is set aside regular time to discuss how things are going in the relationship, including any concerns. And you also want to show appreciation, all right? So you're going to have open dialogue. And you're going to encourage open dialogue, honesty, and you want to be very communicative about your feelings and your needs and your expectation of each other, all right? And then you want to have your listening skills exercise. Don't forget to do role play. When you do role play in other scenarios with other people, when you have a conflict resolution that you want to resolve, maybe role play with somebody else and say, hey, let me see how this sounds with you. Tell me what I need to do some correcting that or whatever. So then you want to do the listening game. So the listening game is very easy. What you would do is engage in activities that requires careful listening, very, very keen to what's been said, such as summarizing a story your partner tells. So you will let your partner tell a story, and then you will listen to what your partner is saying to you, and then you will summarize it up. That's what you would do, all right? So let's talk about that's what we want. Okay, so we have effective questioning. So you want to question You want an open-end question. Ask questions that require more than a yes or no answer. So you would say something like,